we can do it. That's Scatman John. I'm Dean Gordonitis. Unleash This Book Reviews, where I sing to you songs and I tell you about things that I've been reading, except lately. And I feel like I say this in like lots of YouTube videos, and freaking 80% of YouTube vloggers do, but I haven't been around. And this is a problem that's kind of ongoing. It's something I'm trying to work out. So I think, you know, most of the time in the YouTube world, when you have vloggers who haven't been around for a while, then they come back and they apologize, and you kind of wonder what has been driving that. So a lot of times that is probably, you know, a lack of ideas for content, which I can totally understand, or a lack of inspiration to want to keep doing what was once something that inspired you. And I don't think that that's the case with me. I haven't grown tired of making videos. To me, the biggest problem is what to do when I take on a really large book, because when I started this channel, I was a little worried about the hindrances that it would take on what I could read. So obviously a 150 page, 200 page book, you can whip out you can read that in, you know, about a week. Me, I'm a slower reader, maybe like 2 weeks, and then do a video about it. But what about the long books? Like, people say you should read Infinite Jest again or something like that. Okay, but what do I do as far as content in between then? So obviously I think the first idea that pops into your head is, well, just make check-in videos. You could do one at halfway and then one at the end. You could do quarterly. You could do every 100 pages, you know, ideas like that. And I don't think that that's not possible. And I think that if I pushed myself and dedicated myself, I could do that. But to me, a lot of the story, a lot of the ideas that come to my head that I'm able to piece together anyway after I read a book, that I guess is the key thing I'm going to say, happens after I read the book. So I can definitely check in with you guys, and I'm actually going to do that in this video with Dune, because I've been reading Dune for a while and I'm just halfway now. Freaking 800 page book. But I just don't feel like I have as great of insights. Not that my insights are mind-blowing or anything like that, but everybody has certain emotions and ideas that they pull from any type of artwork, and that's completely their own, and that's not right or wrong. You can't really say that one way or the other, but generally speaking, it's hard to really come up with strong feelings and emotions and ideas that are your own unless you've spent enough time with the work. So that's something I constantly kind of battle with. I guess I could come up with videos where I ask you guys poll questions, and I've tried that in the past. Who knows? Maybe if you got some cool ideas, throw them at me, but that's where I am with that. And I kind of wanted to push on another big thing that's kind of stopping me from doing that is my attraction to comic books, which is really geeky and nerdy. And 2 years ago, if I would have known I am where I am now with comic books, I probably would have slapped myself and said, dude, you're not going to get girls this way. But luckily I already have a fiance, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But I've really grown attracted to comic books, and I'm kind of embarrassed to like even tell friends and family that I like comic books because of the stigma that's involved. But I do, and at first I kind of got down on myself because I'm thinking you're taking the lazy way out, you know, and I think there's some validity to that. You're not pushing yourself in literary sense with books, and instead you're kind of copping out with the easier to read comic books, less words, more dialogue, things like that. And as I said, there's truth to that. But as I kind of thought more about it, the other thing is there's some like really good stories going on in comic books, and a lot of people will say they're not getting enough attention and things like that, and I there's truth to that, I believe. But I also think that comic books are getting a lot more attention than they have in a long time, and that's my own personal perception. But the thing is, comic books are coming up with stories not necessarily that are just really good and underappreciated, but that aren't being taken care of, at least from my mind, from my perspective, in the book world. So, you know, comic books, they have not just really good stories, but fun and exciting stories that are portioned really well. So what I mean by that is the writers of the comic books realize that on an issue-by-issue basis they need to keep you interested and involved, or you're not going to buy the next issue, and then they're going to be out of a job. So they don't have as much time to, put together these long twisted narratives, although they will over the course of, say, a 12-book series if they want to do something along those lines. But on a book by book basis, they need to hit you quick with stuff that makes you want to A, open the book to begin with, B, keep turning the pages because you could easily just stop after a few pages, and 3, C, to keep you going for next month. So but they also have to walk that fine line of, if they're always coming up with cliche cliffhangers, then you're not going to buy into that either. So that's kind of the good guys do that kind of stuff well. The good writers, they're able to walk that line of cliffhanger without cliche a lot of times very well. And then obviously there's the artworks, and this is something that kind of baffles me. Illustrations and stuff are often considered for children. Why can't we include more artwork in our literary type of works? Lots of words, but we can throw pictures in there too. And I like, for example, Harry Potter, and that's, I guess, more for kids, but each chapter has an illustration up at the top. I always wanted more as I read that, but at least they had the one. And that still gets categorized as a kid's book, but why? I just think that could help out so much more. Reading is a labor, especially in today's age where we're constantly media, so it's not words as much as images and videos and sounds. And I wish we could incorporate more of that into books. Anyways, let's overlap the best of comics and the best of the literary world and get something cool going out there. I think would be awesome. Anyways, growing up, I was always more into the adventurous, like easier to read kind of stuff, obviously, because that's what you're into as kids. But Goosebumps, Animorphs, Choose Your Own Adventure. I loved The Hobbit as a kid. That was always my thing. And then teachers started telling me, oh, you have to read these kind of books more. I remember my one teacher told me I couldn't read any more Choose Your Adventure books until I read Little House on the Prairie. And I was, what second or third grader wants to read that? And that kind of killed me. And then all through the years, I always loved reading, but teachers are always making you read these literary books. And sure, I learned a lot, and I probably wouldn't trade 80-90% of what I learned in school and college. But also, it's kind of weird how much your teachers in school, and especially in college, will tell you that books that are stories that are written based on plot and dialogue and characters and just excelling at those are cheap and not worthy. And now that I've graduated and have time since college and been able to kind of explore the world in my own way, I don't agree with that. I feel like I was kind of brainwashed in college to agree with that, and I would outwardly say that to people, I think, and that was wrong of me. And I think I've grown in a way by touching my inner child a little more. I don't know. Anyways, let's get to Dune, because I have been reading about half of that with a little I don't know what I've kind of experienced so far. So Dune is kind of a weird mashup because it is a lot of adventure and action and in its sci-fi-ness packed in. It's not the hardest read ever, although it is in certain other ways, but it is very plot oriented. And fun in that aspect, but at the same time it's a huge book. It's like, my copy's 800 pages, and it's complicated in other ways. It's a very politically charged book with spice is a main crop, I guess you would say. That's exported off of a planet very similar to oil. You can see the connections all over the place there in our world compared to theirs. But politically, like, there's so many different characters and factions and families. And dukes and barons and Bene Gesserits and just big handful. Now there's a Dune Wiki, which I've found very nice to have right on my phone. Actually, I'll search the characters that I may have forgot of or things like that. But there is some intricacy. If I put it down for a week and I haven't picked it up, it's tough to get back into it. There's a lot going on, but so it's a weird kind of combination between those two things. But overall, I found it, pretty enjoyable. There's a lot of sense of urgency and excitement, which I do appreciate. I can't say that it's like I can't put it down page turner. Obviously, I've been reading it for like a month and a half, and I'm only halfway through. But in spurts, it's been getting me relatively excited. I've been having, good enough fun with it. Obviously, not enough fun that I've finished reading it yet. Right on the cover, though, it says it's science fiction's masterpiece. That's what it's advertised as. And I'm kind of curious, for those of you who have read it, or read part of it, what you think of that. Do you agree with that? Do you think that there's other books that you would consider to be the science fiction masterpieces over it? Obviously, that's a really hard title to give any book. And as soon as you put that on a book, it has to live up to some huge expectations that maybe original readers didn't have. So I pick it up and I'm expecting the best thing, since, some cliche like sliced bread, and what I get is something that's really good but maybe not as lofty, because that's where my mind went. I don't know. I'll get back into you guys. Hopefully I'll do a classic book review on that at some point. Hopefully excitement kind of picks up a little bit more for it, I guess. I know some people love this book and think and it's their favorite book ever. I don't know if it'll ever hit that for me. I can understand how for certain types of people it totally would, and I think it's a respectable favorite book if that's your thing. Pretty cool stuff. I'm also really excited to read, and this happens with long books too, and it's kind of frustrating as well. I like halfway through, like right now, I start wanting to read other books, and then I don't really want. It becomes more of a chore to finish the other book than an excitement, because there's other things I want to get to, and now this is in the way. It's a roadblock. I'm sure you've all experienced things like that. So the one book that I've recently heard of that I really want to read, and I've read like 10 pages of it, but who knows, maybe I'll cheat and read it first. I don't know, and I'm not making any promises, but All You Need Is Kill. The title is what got me, and the premise seems pretty cool. It's like a military future where I believe, I try not to spoil it by reading too much of a synopsis. Sometimes I like to just completely not have a clue, but I believe like the same day keeps repeating for them, sort of like Groundhog Day, but way more violent. And then lastly, what I wanted to tell you guys about, well, also if you've heard of this book, tell me what you think about it, because it sounds cool. But lastly, what I wanted to tell you guys was just a little update on the book publishing thing that I'm going to be putting off. The logo is finally coming, and I'm so psyched, because now I can start putting up a site, get submissions going, things like that. So are you ready? Because you guys, outside of my fiance, my parents, and a couple of my closest friends, they're going to be the first people to ever see it right here, right now. Haven't put it anywhere else. Just got it yesterday. Here we go. Unveiling. 3, 2, 1. What do you guys think? I think it looks really cool. I'm really proud. It was done by Alex Foster, and I'll put his link in the info down below if you like his work and you're looking to do something too, because I totally recommend him. Great stuff. Otherwise, that's about it. Hopefully I don't keep you guys waiting a month and a half or so until the next video. Take care of yourselves. Be good to people. I'll try to do the rest. And thanks for watching, as always. You guys are awesome. Alright, talk to you later. Bye.